Hello, health coaches. We're here with another Coach the Coach session. Today, we're talking with Lindsey all about her weight loss niche and specifically how she can set herself apart when we all know there are so many resources, books, coaches, programs out there for people who want to lose weight. So I think this is going to apply to so many health coaches in our group. Lindsey, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Happy
Oh
to be
man,
here.
so much to talk about. I'm like thinking to myself, where do we even begin? Why don't you tell me, like, when did it hit you, or when does it hit you that this might be a problem? I might need to stand out in this sea of weight loss.
Yeah, so, it's not where I started when I first navigated into coaching. I quickly realized that after talking with a lot of women that is in my community and that I'm serving, that weight loss was what they wanted. And so I navigated to market myself as a weight loss coach and someone that can help them obviously with their other health issues as well, but primarily solving weight loss. And then I realized that through that process, that is like the biggest niche that everyone has. And while there are pluses to that, because that is a big problem that a lot of people and a lot of women deal with, there's also a lot of people that are coaching around weight loss. And so, I just want to be unique and stand out differently, and like find my, like self through the process and be able to serve my women the best way that I can. And so sometimes with, getting asked questions, well, what do you do? Well, I coach women through weight loss. It can kind of come on deaf ears of, oh, well, a lot of people tend to do that. Or are you a dietitian? Or all those different things. So I just thought it'd be a good question to ask you, and others as well as I navigate through learning more about you being unique in this niche.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so that's really helpful. And maybe I obviously know a bit about your business, but for everybody watching and listening, tell us a little bit about what are you up to right now in your business? You're part of our weekly mentorship group, so like I said, I have an idea of some of the activities that you have going on, but we have people listening. Some of you guys might be just starting out as a health coach, or maybe you're still in school or whatever. We have coaches along the whole spectrum there. So let us know, like, what's going on for you this month, next month?
Yeah, I have a lot going on right now. I'm finishing a current challenge, a sugar detox, in my private community, on Facebook, where I've had a lot of ladies attend. I feel like for me starting out, I got my certification over the summer last year. So I'm fairly new in practicing coaching. I feel like though I have been doing it for decades, just for free with all of my family
Right.
and friends. But so right now I have a current client that I'm navigating through weight loss for an upcoming event, and just trying to really put myself out there for that one-on-one coaching. That has been my biggest, I guess, you could say like marketing or effort right now is just selling and serving from my one-on-one coaching program.
Okay, but you had a good response for your sugar detox?
I did. I had roughly 20 people sign up, which for me, was significant considering I'm new to coaching. And I've had higher than a 50% like rate on actually participation throughout the process. So that was great. I think the only negative in that was that majority of the people that signed up for the event were already on my email list. So my point was to try to like grab more eyes, and so that's kind of where I'm wondering if like how can I set myself apart and grab more eyes, rather than just being another weight loss coach.
Just another weight loss coach. All right. Well, I love what you said a few minutes ago. You said something about find myself through the process. And I thought that was so wise and exactly where we need to go when we want to stand out. Well, there would be another way to do it, but I think we're going to have more luck actually just digging into who you are. The one thing with weight loss could be, for example, like weight loss for people who have had such and such health condition, weight loss for people who live in Des Moines, Iowa, right? So you could segment like that, right? Lindsey, what state do you live in?
Virginia.
Virginia. Okay. So you could work with people in your local area for sure. And that's a way to niche down, right? It could certainly be like that. But for you and for most of the people that, coaches that we have inside of our mentorship group, I noticed that we're trying to work, worldwide, and we're not necessarily trying to, niche down by location, and sometimes not even by specific health issue. So when you said I could finding myself through the process, I thought, oh, yes, for you, this is going to be perfect. So let's set aside business and health coaching and target markets and all that stuff. And tell me and tell everybody a little bit about what got you into health coaching, a little bit about your story, what makes Lindsey Lindsey.
Yeah, I have a unique story. I was a professional figure skater most all of my life. I started at the age 8. Didn't really have like a normal upbringing because I was skating, or I was living with people that were skating, or I was, having summers at Lake Placid skating. And just so my upbringing was a lot different. My dad had a heart attack when I was in high school. And I realized at that point, like, we need to all be healthier. As an athlete, I had always been healthier and I had always watched my weight. But after, my dad's heart attack, it obviously was like, this is something that we just all need to be conscious of. So I kind of helped him through that process, and helped kind of coach and navigate his nutrition because I knew what to do from, being an athlete. And then as I got a little bit older, it became an obsession. Like, I knew how to do nutrition so much down to the science that, it would be like calorie in, calorie out. This is the best for performance. This is what I need to be doing. And so it became an obsession. I developed an eating disorder for a long time. Like in the dancer world and in the skating world, it's like they literally will get paid, right, to be a certain weight, which is underweight for a majority of the normal population. And so I just always lived that and was good at it and good at weight loss. After recovering from that, I realized, like, I can turn my story and my passion of, knowing how to lose weight and actually helping someone that needs to lose weight instead of, an obsession around food and around body and relationship. So that's kind of where I've been in the past couple years while COVID happened and after I had 2 boys and a corporate job. And my master's, I was like, I just don't know if I want to do this anymore. I want to work for myself and I want to do what makes my heart happy. And I realized through kind of like that self-talk and navigating my life and my morning meditations that this is what I wanted to do. So this is where I'm at. I'm just trying to figure out how I can bring that into helping women navigate weight loss.
Yes, I love it. Those are all really interesting things. I'm just taking notes over here. So if you see me writing over here, that's just me, right? Saying, oh, that was very interesting. And so that's about how you grew up. What about, you mentioned your corporate job. What do you do professionally?
I am a director in a health insurance company.
Health insurance. Okay.
Yeah, like Fortune something 30, maybe. More than that, I don't know. We're pretty
Fortune
big.
something, it's fine. So for everybody listening, like when you're trying to figure out how can I stand out, do like this. How did you grow up? What are some interesting things about your childhood, your upbringing, who you are, your special skills, your talents, challenges that you've gone through, why you became a health coach is often, a good starting point for that. But then also, what do you do now? So we know Lindsey is a mom. She has 2 boys. How old are your boys?
They are 1 turned 8 on Tuesday and 3. So 8 and 3.
8 and 3. Okay. So we have a mom of boys just like me. And all of these things can start to be clues for who you want to work with and how you can work best. So for example, maybe moms of boys, we have our own hashtag. You guys ever do that on Instagram? Mom of boys, because we live a different life than moms of girls. And maybe there would be a direction for you there, right? For example. But what stood out to me the most from your story is, of course, this background is as a figure skater. and as an athlete, and you must have been competing pretty heavily throughout the early part of your life.
Yes, a lot, like every other weekend. Which I think was probably what developed that like spirit of, high achievement, which has been great for me in my life because I'm always achieving and achieving and achieving. Um, and I've realized through that process that that's who I want to work with. I'm not, I feel like I definitely need to be working with women who are in that category of achievement, because I don't want to be dragging clients through, working with me. I want them to be like ready to work with me. So I've gotten that far. It's just, how do I continue to attract them in, and how do I kind of develop myself as I'm new, as a complete expert in weight loss, and standing out from others who are doing the exact same thing.
Okay. So for anybody who's here with us live, I'm going to throw this out to you guys as well. But Lindsey, I'm also asking you, where can we find women who are high achievers, women who are used to maybe being competitive, women who always like to do the thing and get the A++ and the gold star and the 10 out of 10? Where do we find people like that if that was our only assignment? So I'm sure you've thought about this already a bit, Lindsey. So off the top of your head, where are some places that high achieving women would be likely to find them?
Yeah, I mean, I think of myself and things that I do, obviously like the corporate world, um, obviously the gym. But again, if they're trying to lose that weight, that could go either way, right? Like maybe they haven't been in a while, or maybe they're in there trying to figure themselves out. Um, I don't know, coffee shops. I've even thought of, doctor's offices.
Okay, where if they were going to a doctor, what might they be there for? Obviously, they could be there for anything, but if we know they're high achievers and the type to really overdo it sometimes.
Yeah, maybe it's just like a checkup, or maybe it's to, get lab work done. I'm not sure. I think I need to sit more with that.
We'll come back to that. Okay, doctor's office. When you said the gym, I actually wrote down CrossFit, right? And so that's where my mind goes with this type
Yeah,
of woman. She's not just dabbling at the gym. She's not
yeah.
walking on the treadmill. She's going to CrossFit, and she's not just doing the gentle yoga class once a week. She's doing power yoga, right? So if you were going to go to a yoga studio, you would go to the hot power yoga studio,
Yeah.
and you'd be more likely to find this type of woman, someone, just has more of this high achieving profile. Okay. And what about in the corporate world? Ooh, it's been a long time since I was in the corporate world, but can you think which types of companies, which industries we would be more likely to find this type of woman?
Yeah, I mean, I would think like finance, obviously healthcare, high level marketing firms.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm just thinking about myself and my personality of, that always wanting to achieve, basically climbing the corporate ladder, to try to get to that next level of achievement. And so I would think like probably in high positions. Um,
Management, client
mhm,
facing positions. Okay. I like what you
yeah.
said, finance, maybe technology. Okay, very good. So getting back to the doctor's office, right? Yes, of course, she might go for her checkup, her annual, GYN visit, things like that. But specifically, we know she'd probably be, I was thinking she's going to the doctor because she's having heart palpitations because of her anxiety. Sarah over here saying adrenals. They're going to the doctor because they are tired.
Oh my gosh, I love that because I hadn't thought of that. I mean, I know why I go to the doctor, or why I have in the past, and that's for, those types of medications. So I didn't even think about that. So that's great. That's very helpful.
Yep, they could be the women who are, they're very high functioning, but they have a bottle of Xanax in their purse, like for sure, right?
Yes.
So when you're talking about weight loss, that we'll just use that as an example. Weight loss is kind of similar topics, no matter who you're talking to. Eat more vegetables, drink more water, eat less fast food, whatever. Boring, but more interesting if you could talk about perhaps the connection between anxiety and weight loss. That little prescription bottle in your purse and weight loss. And I'm just totally riffing off the top of my head right now. It's not like we've rehearsed any of this. So off the top of your head, Lindsey, does that make you think of anything? Someone who's actively taking medication to control their panic attacks and anxiety, but they're also trying to lose weight. What would you talk to her about?
Yeah, I mean, we would definitely focus on stress as well as, whole foods and really kind of meal prepping in advance because obviously she probably doesn't have a lot of time throughout the week to be doing that. So, talking about some of that and from a nutritional standpoint, I'd really have to think about the stress because I feel like in many ways I may be in some ways target market. Like I
Mhm.
have all those similar qualities. So, what I need, or what support what I need outside of the weight loss, right?
Mhm.
But how could I message or target or speak to her outside of the weight loss? Because I think right now the biggest gap is while I have people that are interested and I have a current client and all of that, I'm getting so many different people that are interested from all areas of weight loss, which as a new coach is great. But then it's getting them to bite, right, is the hardest part because I feel like maybe they're not correlating the value or understanding that I can provide. So I think that's just kind of where I am.
Sure.
But that makes sense. I did a long answer to your question.
That's okay. So that's a great example though, because you'll be getting interest, top level interest from a lot of different people. But let's say Lindsey has a $5,000 coaching program, and you should. She has a $5,000 coaching program. That the difference is going to be someone saying, well, I could get somebody else to help me lose weight. I'm going to go do, Weight Watchers or whatever. And someone who goes, Lindsey, it's like you've been reading my diary. I don't care what it costs. I know you understand me deep down in my soul. I have to work with you. And that's the person that's going to pay $5,000 to work with Lindsey. So this is the difference between trying to speak to everybody and really knowing that individual. So Sarah's saying some things that you're going to want to talk to her about. And this is where my mind was going: slowing life down, simplicity. I was thinking a big aha moment for this woman is going to be telling her that the faster she goes and the more she stresses out and the harder she pushes herself, the more her body's going to hold on to the weight. And then her head is just going to explode because she's been counting the calories and doing her Fitbit
Mhm.
and, all of that so she's trying to lose weight harder, where she probably needs to lose weight softer, if that makes sense. And that's what you described, right? You took it way beyond the beyond into disordered eating. And that's probably what this woman is likely to do. Maybe she's not going to get to that point, but she's going to push herself too hard. And the answer could actually be slowing it down. Talk to me. What's something that you learned about how to course correct as a person who tends to overachieve?
Yeah, I mean, um, I think for me it was, and I still work on this, but just a lot of mindset work.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we can provide, guidance and support and stuff to our clients in terms of behavior modifications. But if the mindset doesn't create the new habit and it doesn't translate, then they go right back to that. And so that's what I noticed multiple times of trying to, I guess heal myself and working with a nutritionist and a coach and therapist and all these people. During that time that I would continuously go back to old patterns unless I change the beliefs and the mindset. And so that's something that I want to really incorporate. but that also doesn't sell. So I have to get them in and get them connected in that and then work, on some of the mindset work, which is something that I'm sort of kind of translating with my client right now. Um, but
Well,
I
I,
think
I
some,
really like everything you just said,
yeah,
and that really speaks to how you're going to work with your high achievers. Sometimes the way that we get the best results and we really make a difference in people's lives is not the way we sell the program, right? Because she probably doesn't want to hear that. She's like, I don't
right.
want your mindset, blah, blah, blah. I
I,
want you to tell me how many calories, how many macros of this, that, and the other
yeah.
thing, you know? So you might have to bring her in one way, and that is talking about how she tends to be an overachiever, talking about how she drinks coffee all day and wine at night to finally, calm. She's self-medicating to go up and self-medicating to come down, talking to her about the panic attacks and the Xanax. What else do you need to talk to her about that she is aware of, that she's going to laugh and go, oh yeah, that's me?
I think just no balance or like lack of balance and
Yep.
time management because you always feel like you're on all the time. So maybe it's sleep. Um, maybe it's like hydration. Like, I mean, so many things I feel like I could navigate towards because, or maybe it's eating out. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's so many different things because when you have that type of personality, you're just always on. You're not really
Yes.
ever off.
Talk to her about that,
Yeah.
about
Okay.
always being on. So when it comes to sleep, it's not just like, sleep is good. You should get 8 hours of sleep. Dim the lights. It's going to be like, you wake up every morning between 3 and 4 a.m. and you can't fall back asleep. And she's going to go, how did you know? Right. But we know that's what happens to women like this, right? She's going to have that issue. And if you can like further dive into each of these areas, how is she experiencing life? Does she have that thing where she tries to sit down and relax, but then she's up again because oh, wait, no, I got to do the dishes, or, oh, wait, no, I have this other project I have to work on. And she really can't turn off. Right? That's going to be like the signal that she's the perfect client for you because you know how to work with a woman like that. You feel her, these are real type A people. And then you're going to be able to talk to her about those specific issues that come up and how they're connected to her weight. That's going to be that linchpin for you, connecting this personality type and all these different types of issues she has with her weight, even including what medication she's taking. Because if she's on Zoloft, well, that's not doing anything to help her with the weight, right? So there's going to be ways to speak to how these issues overlap. Okay, I like this. Maybe, I'm not saying this has to be the ultimate answer for your business, but if you were, if you were going to go down this route of working with these real high achieving, overachieving women, they work in finance, then they leave and they go to the CrossFit gym. They're hitting up their doctor because their heart palpitations are driving them crazy. How would that be different than what you're doing now? Like, could you see that being a more narrow path to walk?
Yeah, it definitely is because now I'm offering, my free challenge and I'm getting a lot of people that, maybe they are not in those professions, right? So I'm getting them on the phone and they're not able to, buy in or afford coaching with me, even though they really want that. They have to ask their husbands. Other ones are, at that place of like just having a baby or not yet having a baby. So it's still kind of not necessarily in the place that I would consider is where I would be kind of helping them. I don't do like prenatal, postnatal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also think too, the hardest for me has been I'll have a bigger group, like it's not massive or anything, but I have a couple hundred people and over 1,000 people on social media. But I just feel like I get the average person looking to lose weight a lot, not I just don't know where to find or to connect the high achievers. Like I feel like there's not enough of them. I don't know. I know that's not true.
They're out there, but you're going to have to go look for them in the
Yeah.
places
Okay.
that we discussed. And you might go in, let's say you're going to do a workshop instead of doing like not that you would do it probably like this anyway, but just to make the point, you're not going to hold a workshop weight loss for women. You're going to hold a
Right.
workshop stress and your weight, something like that. Did you know your stress has been impacting your ability to lose those stubborn pounds? Come find out how. So, why that's happening and how to get over it. That would be like the workshop for her. She's going to respond to that. She's going to respond to things that have to do with productivity, right? Because that's what she wants. She wants
Yeah.
to be more productive. Anything that has to do with like doing life better, she's going to be really into, right? And then it's going to be different than the type of woman who's a much different personality, already lives a life that she doesn't really care if she got the A+ or not, or
Right.
she's not going to be as turned on to those topics if you walk in with those. So hopefully it's going to help you narrow down. I also was thinking there's an opportunity for you to go even more specific potentially and work with women who used to be athletes. I don't know if there's a place they all hang out. Is there a place where all of you ex-figure skaters go and chat?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I approach my old rank, or I, talk with, I do have some relationships there. Of course, I have my own activewear company, so there's been some connections that have been made there. Yeah, I mean, I haven't honestly really thought about some of this in terms of, I feel like I've just been pushing out weight loss content and not really thinking that stress would be an area to kind of bring into that, or how I could pull in like the high achiever view. So I think this has definitely been helpful. For me, I think I just need to try to sit and brainstorm a little bit on how I can talk with her and how I can connect the dots from finding her and getting her on my email list without another free event.
You'll probably want to comb through the marketing materials you have so far, the ones you developed during Fast Track, and maybe just tweak them a little bit to start talking to this woman instead. And certainly what you're doing on a routine basis, posting on social media or say your Facebook group or your emails, start talking more and more to her. And maybe there'll be things that happen in your life where you're like, there I go again, being a super high achieving person. Oh, I could use this story. Like, this is a good story to tell. This is, something that my audience is going to laugh and go, yep, Lindsey really gets me. Or, I really understand Lindsey. There's a connection being made because just like me, she's super anal about, whatever, meal planning or all the things. A lot of women I work with, they track their periods very, very closely on an app, just like I do. And I'm like, we're going to get along.
Yeah, I have noticed that. And it's funny you mentioned that. And, I know we're probably at time, but I have noticed that like working with people that are not at that same place as me, it's really hard. I constantly feel like I'm struggling to pull them to get, and then I feel like I'm micromanaging. So it's like, I just need someone that is in that same headspace of I'm going to do whatever it takes and go above and beyond to get the result that I need.
Yes, they're going to show up with a color-coded spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, yes, you are
Yeah.
my woman. And they're going to look at you and go, you are my woman. And that is where the magic happens. Love it. Lindsey, that is so great. So when we meet next week for, because we meet every week for mentorship, we always ask, what are you working on? And how are you going to be making offers next week? You might want to pause and go back to doing a couple interviews. For everyone listening, like as part of Healthy Profit University, one thing that we do is an interviewing process that helps you get to know your target market. So Lindsey's already done this, but when you think about this woman, it may be worth having a few conversations and redoing interviews specifically with this type of lady in mind.
Yeah, I like that. I think I need to revisit. And it's funny, like just going through that process and then being on the weekly calls, it does help to kind of get it even more refined, because as soon as I feel like I'm at a good place, I second guess what I'm doing. And then it's like, I'm jumping over here. So I appreciate it.
That's amazing. Thanks for saying that. And if anyone is interested in being on those weekly calls with us, one of the perks is that if you're part of mentorship, you get the opportunity to have a one-on-one session like this, like Lindsey just had with me. So that's pretty awesome. Not to mention every week we're meeting in small group format so that we can talk these things through. We will be opening enrollment for weekly mentorship in about a month. So if you'd like to be on the wait list, you can put your name on it at healthcoachpower.com/mentorship. Lindsey, thank you so much for bringing up this excellent topic.
Thank you for your help. And thanks all for viewing and giving me your feedback. I'm going to have to watch this again later.
Yes, yes. Watch it back. You'll take some more out of it the second time around. This has been fun. I'll see you soon. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.